Showtime. I guess it's showtime. Am I late? I don't think I'm late. The blocks are here. The setup's here. So I don't think I'm late. Though my internal voice tells me, Andy Hall, you're late. All right, so what am I doing? I'm doing Jenga. Hey, Simply Secular. Right from USA Today. That is correct. From my appearances on, my many appearances on Snopes and my appearance on USA Today, that's me. All right. Just getting my ducks in a row here. Sometimes the ducks don't behave themselves. So, all right. Now I have everything. I have everything ready. As you can see, I have my Rick Sanchez right there from Rick and Morty. I have my nun. She's an angry nun. Once upon a time, she would actually shoot out sparks too. But she's fun. She's fun, the nun. To Blocky too. And of course we have the Brain from Pinky and the Brain. I've had him for a long time. All right. Doing blocks, that's what I'm doing. Stay there. All right. All right. So I'm going to put no coffee up here today. No coffee. I already drank my coffee. So I'm focused. There's no chance of any blocks falling into the coffee. So that's good. I'm thinking about doing a stream on Saturday and just going over some hate comments I've had on the blog and on the YouTube page and reply. No mirror. I don't know where the mirror is, to tell you the truth. Simply Secular. You would think I would know where my stuff is. But the thing is, I got to move my studio around. I got to move around. And I think my studio is in my kid's room. Did I just throw my kid underneath the bus? I think I did. So my studio, I move around. Whenever my kid is here, I'm upstairs in the bedroom. And whenever she leaves, I go back downstairs. It ensures domestic tranquility. That's what it does. So my mirror is probably downstairs somewhere in her room. And I have to get it back. You're right. I do have to find the mirror. All right. So what's the next move, Andy? That's a good question. What is the next move? No, that looks like it has potential. Yeah. I don't know where the mirror is. I feel bad about it. I do feel bad. I went outside today. I've had pants on. I just want to say this. I've had pants on. The longest I've had them on for like weeks. I've had pants on now for maybe 3 hours, believe it or not. 3 hours. I was outside. I did stuff outside. I had to run my car for a while, drive it around to make sure the car still works. And yeah. So I have pants on, and I actually have shoes on too. I have shoes and pants. Though I will say, after I'm done here, after we're done doing Jenga, I will be getting into my gym shorts. I won't be going to the gym, but I'll be jumping on the bike and doing some exercise stuff. So yeah, on Saturday, I think I'm going to do a stream and just go over some of the. You did pants yesterday? Yeah. Pants are overrated. I'll tell you what I'm excited about pants. Why I was excited about pants today, and that was only until after I put my pants on, is that I discovered I'm not as fat as I thought I was. I didn't add as much weight as I thought I did over the last, couple of weeks. Simply Secular, So I feel that putting on pants today was a net positive. Maybe that's why I still have my pants on, to tell you the truth. I feel a little bit, I've been trying to eat better, right? And exercise and stuff. So I don't feel bad. I feel good about pants right now. So yeah, I'm thinking about going over, doing some, reviewing some old comments from Trump supporters who swear to their God that he's going to still be president and he's always going to be president. And I really haven't sat down and answered those comments, but I think it might be fun to do. A little bit of Schadenfreude. A little bit of Schadenfreude. That was my shoes, by the way. I have sneakers. If you heard that sound, that was just my shoes rubbing up against each other. I wasn't, you did pants. Yep. So I'm reading through Sanjay Gupta's book. Sanjay Gupta is the head medical guy on CNN. He's a neurosurgeon, and it'd be nice to get your take on the commentary without giving the hate any fuel. Well, that's the trouble, right? Simply Secular. It's the how much do I play it for shtick, for just fun, and how much do I play it for honest commentary. But between the blog that I have and the YouTube, I have a backlog of hate comments. Like I said, my hate comments aren't as impressive as some other people. Some people get like legit death threats. I just get a go get a day job, or crappy, basic heckler stuff like that. Or people not understanding what jokes are, getting angry about jokes. I think if you're angry about jokes, that might be more about you than the joke. So I noticed that Donald J. Trump is not reinaugurated as president, or the 19th president, or whatever that conspiracy theory is. That didn't happen today. Go get a day job, said no one who ever had a day job. Yeah, no one. I understand that. Some people like having a day job, but they really haven't tried what has always prevented me from not having a job is the lack of money, to tell you the truth. The thing is, I'm always busy, right? I mean, I'm officially unemployed right now, but I'm always doing something, and typically something that I find meaning in. Hey, Wild Eden, hello. So I'm thinking about reading through some hate comments on Saturday, doing a stream, going over some of the old Trump supporter hate comments on YouTube and my blog, maybe answering a few of them. There's a few silly. There's a few silly ones. Well, there's a lot of silly ones. You're looking forward to retirement? Yep, I hear you, Wildine. The trick is, of course, is to find and to engage in things that are meaningful, right? So from what I understand of the research, is that in retirement, if you can do things that are meaningful, and not only meaningful, but, you know, stimulate the thinky parts, that stimulate your brain, that would be good. I'm reading through Sanjay Gupta's book, Staying Sharp, right now, which I recommend. No, I have not been paid to support this book whatsoever. But Sanjay Gupta has a book called Staying Sharp, and he has a 12-week program at making your brain smarter. You like the little models while eating? Yeah. This is my. I've had my nun here for quite a long time. Survived several moves. Let me tell you this, and several tumultuous personal dramas I've had. I'll say that. Rick Sanchez from Rick and Morty. I'm happy about Rick, and of course Pinky and the Brain. I've had the brain here since I got divorced. Since I was, I got the brain when I was married, and that was like well over 10 years ago. So brain's been with me for quite a while. They are happy companions. That's what they are. The good thing about it is that they don't say anything embarrassing about me. Yeah, before retirement, it's so like I said, reading through Sanjay Gupta's book about staying sharp as you get older, and he has a 12-week program. So I'm thinking about trying the 12-week program, or 6C137. Thank you, Simply Secular. So yeah, I'm thinking about doing the 12-week program and seeing if my brain gets any more brainier during that time period. But I have to get to the end of the book. I mean, the first 2/3 of the book is talking about the science, about brain health and staying healthy as you get older. And then the last third of it is the actual 12-week program. So I'm almost at the 12-week program part. And when I am, I'm going to try it out. I think I'm going to have to manage my diet a little bit better than I am now, or the food I take, right? I'm going to have to cut down on the sugars. Oh, you have a different Rick? Tons of mice? Hello, Tons of Mice. Mine is in a lab coat and holding a flask. Excellent. Classic Rick, I think. Is that classic Rick? I think that's classic Rick right there. No, it's a good tower. I can still spin the foundation here with little to no fear of it falling. Tons of mice. I've been playing around with cat images today, cat and corgi images. YouTube keeps telling me I should offer memberships for the YouTube channel, so I'm going to offer memberships with special perks and blah 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 stuff like that. That's my whole marketing shtick for it, by the way, saying that I'm more about playing Jenga and making crappy jokes and yelling at Republicans than actually doing anything else. But I feel I should be obligated. I should talk about it at least a little bit. Not that one. I know Digital Bookworm, right? That would be, yeah. I can just see what you got. I mean, I imagine that you're looking at me trying to figure this out, and you're going like, Andy, that's just too wobbly. You can't take that one out. So Hemant, who we're trying to get on the channel right now. I'm going to shoot him an email later, or a message later on today. Hemant Mehta, the Friendly Atheist, he came out with a video about all the deaths of the Bible that God killed. And so I'm going to invite him on the channel and talk about it. And He's been on the channel before years ago. Well, he was on the old show Naked Diner podcast with Jack and me. And it's a long video too. It's like a 2-hour long video about all the people God killed in the Bible. So it might be a good conversation with him. So he's someone I'm trying to get on the show. Tons of mice is something Tracy Harrison said. Oh, interesting. Oh, you did sit through that 2.5 hours, huh? Digital Bookworm? What did you think of it? How many people did God kill in the Bible? A lot. That's really a passion project. That's something that takes time and effort to make a video like that. Oh, perfect, perfect, perfect. When I was out for my walk earlier today, and by the way, everyone, if you're just tuning in, I have pants on today, like legitimate pants. I was out for a walk. I still have my pants. I still have actually shoes on too, gasp. But I was out for my walk listening to the Hidden Brain podcast, which I enjoy quite a bit. And they're talking about the science of virality, or how to make mass movements, how to spread ideas really quickly. And it isn't just as simple as making a meme. It isn't just as simple as, there are different kinds of virality, right? And how to get people to change. Hey, what's up, James Henry? So, and this recent episode of Hidden Brain, it's definitely worth your time in case you do like that kind of stuff about how mass movements catch on. Oftentimes, we only see like a meme or the very tip of the iceberg and what gets mass movements going viral. And we don't see all the grunt work that went into creating a structure for something to go viral, or for a movement to go viral. So I was just talking about the latest episode of Hidden Brain, the podcast Hidden Brain, I was listening to while on my walk. Here we go. The light sucks here. It makes me angry here and there. The one thing. See, I'm moving back down. My kid's going back home tomorrow, or back to her mother's house. And so I'm going back downstairs. But I gotta get blackout curtains for this room. And for downstairs for that matter. Because you see, I have two different problems with the light. They're both too bright. Get a lot of light in this house, which is good. But this room gets a lot of afternoon light. Well, the other room I use gets a lot of morning light, like an absurd amount, especially this time of year. Don't fall. Don't fall. See, it didn't fall. You thought it was going to fall. I am as sweet as cake. I like cake. I'm pro cake. Not all cake, I'm not. But I like a lot of cake. There was a point in my life that I realized that muffins were cake. That muffins that you eat for breakfast are actually cake. And that made me sad. Is then I said to myself, now that I knew that muffins are cake, then that means I'm going to feel guilty when I have muffins for breakfast. Like blueberry muffins, you can kind of fool yourself into thinking blueberry muffins are healthy. They're not. They're just blueberry cake. That's all it is. That's all it is. It's blueberry cake. You know what I did? I just switched over from my left hand to my right hand because I'm talking about freaking cake. I should be using my left hand. This is what happens when I get distracted. Start talking about cake, and I just lose all perspective on everything. I need to get blackout blinds for midsummer because I get woken. Oh, dude, I can imagine that. Wild Eden, yeah. You know, I remember being up in Scotland and not getting dark until 11 o'clock at night. And, you know, it's weird being in the pub that late because you're like, sure, it can't be that late because it's still light outside. I'll just keep drinking. It's like, bad choice, Andy. Not understanding how axial tilt works. Cake never makes me feel sad. Yeah. Like a donut. I think a donut, you pretty much know, right? A donut, you know that a donut is basic sin. So, you know, it's gastrointestinal sin. That's what a donut is. But a muffin, you know, it sounds like such a fun thing to say. I'm going to have a muffin. And at no point do you think to yourself, this is as bad, if not worse, than a donut. But it is. Oh, there was this place. There was a fave pub. I can't say that I did. You know, I went drinking because my ex-wife's family were in Burnt Island, right on her mom's side of the family. On Burnt Island, right outside the Firth of Forth. You know, across is Edinburgh, and we went to this little dive bar where they had a pool table at least, right? And just drank there quite a bit. And then her dad's side of the family is from Balhoolish, which is from around Fort William, right? And I think they had one bar there. They just had one bar. Does this donut make me look fat? I think a bunch of donuts will once imbibed, once taken, you know. I think carrot cake is a British invention during the war. That's interesting. I think it was too. That seems oddly. That seems to stir something in my brainy parts, in the meaty parts of my brain. Carrot cake. Oh, nice. Wasn't a snooker table. No, it was not. I've been to proper snooker tables. It was not a snooker table. I was watching a video just before I came on about the English Civil War, you know, where Charles I got his head cut off. And that actually happened during a climate incident. It happened during the Little Ice Age. And during that time period in Britain, more people died during the Little Ice Age due to, of course, the English Civil War and the fact that crops weren't growing. Larger proportion of people died during the Little Ice Age, England, Scotland, and Wales, that died in World War II in terms of, you know, comparatively speaking, you know, as in the percentage of the population that died. Bam. The Cavaliers and the Roundheads. That's right. Now, this is interesting, Wild Eden. The video I saw, I always thought that the Roundheads were called the Roundheads because of the helmets they wore, right? But supposedly it was for the haircuts. So now I'm going to have to look that up because I always thought the Roundheads were due to the, you know, the roundish kind of hats that the infantry people wore. But supposedly it was for the haircuts that were popular during that time. See, that's not going to work. That's not going to work. Bowl cuts. very nice. Mo Howard. Yeah, the Mo Howard look, right? My kid, shifting gears a little bit, my kid is going through, or they're talking about the Holocaust for her social studies class. She's 15, sophomore in high school. And it's like, so did your teacher tell you about the anti-Semitic-ness of the Catholic Church or the Lutheran Church? She's like, no. It's like, well, sit down. Well, she already was sitting down. It's like, let me tell you a little something about Martin Luther. Let me tell you a little something about the Catholic Church before Vatican II. I'm not going to take out that block. That block is going to just... My grandmother used to tell us stories about food rationing during the war. Yeah, what a lot of people don't realize is that there was a lot of food rationing after the war, too, for quite a while, especially in Scotland, right? I mean, there was a good amount of food rationing even after the war because it took so much out of the Brits. Oh, see, it's about to fall. Every single time I touch it, even if I look at it, I feel it's going to take a tumble. Brimstone and fire, that's right. It's funny. I think it was a World War I documentary, and I think it's like named Apocalypse World War I, but there were these German these German sailors in a U-boat in World War I, and they got caught. They got caught. They were prisoners of war pretty much. And this is like maybe 1916 or so, 1917. And they were amazed at how well Britain was doing in terms of what people were eating and their lifestyle, because, of course, in Germany, they were not doing too well at all at that point in the war. Oh, hey, take care, digital bookworm. Take care. See, I keep thinking I can take this one out, but if I do, I feel it's going to just fall apart, just like that. Oh, here we go. An errant block. An errant block is to be plucked just like that. Great. Now this block is able to be freed. Possibly. Yes. Oh, it's always the least. This is true, James Henry. It is true. It is those who are the least powerful suffer the most, right? People who are told, conscripted, Heron Blokovich. I see what you did there. I think this one might be very jiggly, but good. Rocky Block Boa, right? Rocky Block Boa. Those Rocky movies. Now then, is this still spinnable? Oh, look at this, Shazam. Just like that. Well, that's really funny. Napoleon once said, "Morality belongs to the country with the largest artillery." He was an artillery captain, colonel. That's how he made his fame in the siege of Toulouse. I'm butchering that, but he was an artillery guy. Actually, while I exercise, I watch YouTube videos, and I've been watching a series about the Napoleonic Wars and about the early successes and some of the earlier issues, Toulouse, yes. You get the impression that Napoleon, the thing is, people who are good at the bang bang aren't always good at the administration or good at ruling, right? Like, just because you can conquer lots of territory doesn't mean you're good at administrating. Yeah, history is written by the winning side. True enough. So you definitely get the impression that Napoleon, though, he was, military genius. He definitely made some pretty major errors in ruling. Like, I feel a lot of my conversations, right? A lot of my conversations with my friends, especially while we're drinking at the pub, it usually boils down to us having to Google something or wishing that we had either a physicist or an economist around to explain something to us. Like guys like Napoleon, right? They have these ideas about economics and they don't really, they're catastrophic. They're catastrophic. Yeah, history. Yeah, I've always been kind of like a history geek. Wild Eden, always been a history geek. Not to be confused with my other areas of geekishness. I don't know if you listen to podcasts, Wild Eden, but the two big history podcasts that I like are the Revolutions podcast. They're going over the Russian Revolution. I've spoken about it before. I just finished a recent episode of the Revolutions podcast where they're talking about the 1907 Congress of Mensheviks and Bolsheviks. That's an exceptionally good podcast, as well as, of course, Dan Carlin's Hardcore History, which I enjoy quite a bit too. No, it's gonna fail at some point. I feel like I could have an 80s montage for Jenga. Wildy. I remember having to study Russian history at high school. Yeah. Here in the States, you might be surprised. We had American history in high school and American history in high school. Both of it pretty whitewashed. I remember that the most we got out of Russian history, I think, was the fact that we bought Russia in something like 1861, and then the Cold War. Those were the two times we touched on Russia. And of course, that was always through the American lens. Nope. Well, what? You were taught very little American history? To us, that sounds like you were taught very little history at all, Wild Eden. Because, you know, American history is just history, capital H. And all other histories are just little h histories. Footnotes, if you're talking about American exceptionalism, right? That's, of course, meant sarcastic. I mean, yeah. Right? That is how history is taught here. American history with a big H, and everything else are like footnotes. Wumble, tumble, crumble. All right, let me see about finding these errant blocks. They do have a tendency of scattering to the wind, to the four corners. What a pain. Not a big deal in Europe, the United States of America. I would have thought there would just be stuff being taught just to hate us, just to hate the states, right? Andy on bended knees, that's right. Oh, the American Civil War, yeah. That's when the country went from a plurality to a singular kind of noun. So instead of people thinking about it as the states, Americans started thinking about it as a unitary form of a unitary country. What is a really good satirical look at history is, or the Civil War, is the Confederate States of America. It's done in the style of Ken Burns, and it's full of satire, full of really smart comedy. The Confederate States of America. Definitely worth your time. But it's pretty extreme. It's pretty extreme. As is good, good satire should be. Since the advent of the interweb, I've learned more about America. Oh, yeah. There's a lot to learn. Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing about the YouTubes, right? I mean, if all you want to do is look at cat videos all day, yeah, you can do that. But if you want to try to be a little bit more smart, a little bit more aware of what's going around you, you can spend just hours. We got to read To Kill a Mockingbird. So my kid just read that. I did read my first Shakespeare play in high school, which was Julius Caesar. Made an impression on me. And then I took an elective class in Shakespeare too. I read a bunch of plays too after that. Dun, dun, dun. Oh yeah, by Steinbeck, sure. Classic American lit. Should come up with like a book list of I'm going to be 53 in June. It's like I should come up with a list of books I hope to read before I die, because that sounds pretty dramatic. But maybe before I'm 60, right? Like books I should read before I'm 60. That's a nice way of putting it. I like the Big Neck and Riders. Yeah. I haven't read the Pearl and the Red Pony. John Funk, who's been on the channel many times, a couple of times. He has a John Funk. He has a channel, Reading Funk. He focuses in on, I think, a lot of, or he has been focusing in on, Stephen King. He's always been a Stephen King fan, and some pop fiction stuff. Oh, Andy is still a spring chicken then. Yep. Yes. What I am happy, I don't frequently complain about, in fact, my 50s have been working out swimmingly well for me so far. I have no complaint about my 50s. And supposedly, and I know we've talked about this before, I'm pretty sure we've talked about this before, is that data shows that, you start getting to be pretty freaking happy in your 50s. You get past the midlife stuff where you have to worry about kids, jobs, and all that. And in the 50s, there's just less pressure on you. No, well, there you go, Wiley. You're right about that. I have a couple of people in my life that's happening to, or, tough road. The Google moderator team. Really? James, I mean, that came out of left field, brother. I've been pretty, I've been pretty lucky about not getting the morning videos demonetized. I think 2 days ago the video got demonetized. Not that I make a lot of money off it, but it is interesting how they just decide to flag material. Your comment got deleted? Did it? Huh. Didn't even know that. Didn't even see it, James Henry. Didn't even appear. I have two screens open, one on the StreamYard and one on YouTube itself. I didn't even see your comment that got deleted. I'm surprised your the Google moderator team comment didn't get taken down. So I'm hoping that my buddy Jonathan M.S. Pierce is going to have his book out on the resurrection before Easter, because he has a book debunking the resurrection, and I would think he's going to have the book out by Easter, which is rapidly coming upon us, and I'll have time to read his book and then have him on the show and talk about about the resurrection and how it never happened. It's funny, I was talking to my kid about it, about Easter, coming up, and the resurrection, and she's and the book, and she's like, why does it have to be debunked? It obviously didn't happen. And it's like, yeah, people don't come back from the dead. You're right, but apparently some people think it happened, so My buddy wrote a book about why it didn't happen. Goebbels. Yeah. Jonathan's been on the channel a bunch of times. He writes over at the Tippling Philosopher over on Pathos. Written several books. Some fantasy books. He wrote a book about zombies. Like a fiction book about zombies. And now this one on the resurrection. English guy. It is that. It is at that, James Henry. Does anyone know if Rage streamed today? I took a look at his channel before I streamed this morning. I didn't see that he had something set up. So even if John Peterson does a stream at 10:30, he usually has something up before I stream at 9, but I didn't see anything. No, he has health issues. I hope he's doing well. I should send him a message later on today after I'm done. I've been told that the Bible is leaf poetic. Well, the Song of Solomon, some of the nasty, randy stuff in the Song of Solomon has some poetry to it. And there are a couple of songs. There are a few songs. What is it? I remember reading a section of the Bible, and it's interesting because there are different myths from different mythologies, that are found into the book. And I know that I think there's a song that is actually a Babylonian hymn dedicated to Timorous of the soil, their god that dies and gets resurrected again. It's I don't think Rage streamed. Yeah. I'll send you a message later on. See how he's doing. I was talking to my born-again Christian cousin today. He said God had great plans for me. You had bigger plans for yourself, James Henry. That is correct. Beautiful. All right. Like John says, so there's a lot of crazy stuff. A lot of crazy stuff in that book. And the crazy stuff contradicts the other crazy stuff in the book, too. That's what's fantastic about it. It's like one moment, God's having lunch with Abram. A couple of pages later, no one can see God's face, right? He told me that I was ruined by Western education. Oh, just by education? Yeah, I think that's just education. You've been ruined by skeptical thinking. The real education is blind faith. That's what it is. That's where the real education comes in. Oh, your cousin lives in Holland too, huh? And I have not read that, The Violet Apple. I have not. It's about the seed of the apple from the Garden of Eden. Very interesting. Very interesting. I feel like that could be a story kind of like the trees in the Silmarillion, the J.R. Tolkien stuff. Well, I mean, the thing is, that's all the Bible is. It's a bunch of fan fiction, right? It's a bunch of fan fiction. So, the idea about, if it was written, if this book was written like at the beginning of Christianity, it had a shot at being incorporated into the Bible. I mean, you look at how crazy the Book of Enoch is. I mean, and that's considered canon in the Ethiopian church. His mother and mine were sisters, and they both married Dutch men, huh? Well, Eden, you might find this funny. I was feeling pretty cheeky today with my kids, and I were hanging out. And I'm like, if you really want to irritate your grandparents, both from Scotland, you can tell them that you found out that you have some Irish blood in you. From my 23andMe report that I got a couple of years ago, there is some Irish in me. I don't know how valid those reports are. I mean, they did get me in contact with my birth family, so. See, now this is a message retracted, but that's not the same as deleted. Right, Wild Eden? You tell them you're Irish, then they'll get their blood going. Because it's funny how tribalism is, right? Here in the States, it's more of a, the Protestant Catholic thing, or the Irish Scottish thing. It isn't that big. But my ex-wife, when she was young, she wasn't allowed to wear green on St. Patrick's Day. Her parents wouldn't, forbid it. You're not wearing green. I was sitting in the park when an old geezer approached me and asked what I was doing. Really? He just decided to ask you out of the blue, James Henry? That's odd. It's like I'm sitting in the park. That's what I'm doing. I always try to have a slightly agitated look on my face so strangers won't bother me. I've also discovered, I replied that I was sitting in the park. Then he asked me, what was I doing in Holland? Oh, that's ballsy. That's throwing down. That's an invitation to throw down right there. If nothing else, then to throw down rhetorically. And somehow it would be inappropriate to say something like effing your daughter or something like that, right? That wouldn't be nice. Might be comical, but wouldn't be nice. Yeah, that's just harassment, James Henry. That's what that is. Just harassment. What's weird is that the Netherlands, right? y'all have like part of your country in the Caribbean too. You got a couple of islands over there. So it isn't like the Netherlands is just part of, Europe. There's like overseas areas of the Netherlands. I told him I was in Holland because you Germans lost the war. Oh, that's funny. He almost had a heart attack. Very good. Aruba. Oh, interesting. Yep, yep, yep. Aruba must be a cash cow, right? Everyone goes to Aruba. I mean, ignorance is everywhere. Yeah, it's a feature of the species. I've never been to Aruba. I'm not really up for sun and fun in tropical climates, but I know it's a popular place to go. See, I found out today, I was reading up about Holland, the Holland/Netherlands relationship, which I was never absolutely clear on. So it turns out, and this is American trying to understand things. That's what this portion of this Jenga expedition is. American tries to understand things. I knew that Holland was always short, like or a way of saying the Netherlands, right? But I never realized that Holland is actually a particular section of the Netherlands. Like it is a region, like a province in the Netherlands. Your keyboard does have gremlins, brother. That's what you have. Your keyboard does have gremlins. Blazing. We were just talking about Andy's discovery about some stuff about the Netherlands. That Holland is actually what is it? A province or two within the country of Netherlands. Though Holland, of course, is kind of like a lot of people use the word Holland for all of the Netherlands. James Henry, I thought you were trying to type in code. Oh, I think this will work too. Oh yeah, it's a good tower. Yeah, North and South Holland are provinces. Yeah. It was a good tower, I have to tell you. I'm not unhappy with my tower building today. I don't think that's coming out, everyone. I don't think that's coming out. Ooh, is that coming out? Netherlands means in the Low Country. Yes, I knew that, and I'm aware of the constant battle between the ocean and the Netherlands. But I never got the connection between the word Holland and Netherlands. Like I said, I never knew that there were two different provinces, though I knew that Holland and the Netherlands are used back and forth, are used oftentimes. Yeah. Same. We do not have mountains. Flat, and a third of Holland is below sea level. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, we're all glad that known as Atlantis. Hey, didn't you know that Greg Abbott from Texas says climate change isn't happening? Nope, that's this one does not want to go. And if it is known as Atlantis, a lot of the seaboard's going down too, right? A lot of the, it won't just be the Netherlands that'll be known as Atlantis. Even now, when it rains, and this never happened like 20 years ago, 30 years ago, when it rains now, there's part of Storrow Drive. Storrow Drive is the main thoroughfare of going through Boston, east to west. It's the ocean route. It's the ocean road, or the Charles River. And that floods. Part of that floods quite a bit when the rains come. We'll be drawn to, most of Denmark. Yeah. Wow, dude, and I heard an oceanographer saying the UK will have more severe winters due to the reduction of the power of the Gulf Stream. Yep. Sure, I can see that. It's going to affect the whole system in weird ways. Like this entire winter blast that hit Texas is an effect of the jet stream changing. I feel like this block wants to be free. That's what this block told me. It wants to be free. I don't know if you heard this story about a space hotel in low Earth orbits supposedly going to happen by 2028. Sometimes we get sand from the Sahara. Yes, I think I heard about that. When you get the winds, right? The winds will bring some of the sand. I want to go to Space Hotel. I think Virgin Space, the name of the company, like Virgin Atlantic, Virgin Space. I think they would sell tickets, and it's like an insane amount of money. Insane amount of money to a Space Hotel. But it'd be like 2001 Space Odyssey. There'd be artificial gravity because the thing would be spinning. It's like a wheel with spokes. But I wouldn't want to be the first if I could afford it. And hypothetically, if I was given an opportunity to go up there, it'd be just like any other first or new technology. I would want it to get the kinks kicked out of it, right? I want it to be proven before I risk my life going into Space Hotel. Oh. The name of the hotel. The name of the hotel will be called, and I F you not with this, it's going to be called the Von Braun. After Werner von Braun. It's crazy, I tell you. And in the article I was reading, it's like there was some controversy about naming the space hotel after, even though he did do work for NASA, don't get us wrong. I mean, he did, make rockets for the Germans. But that's what the space hotel is supposedly going to be named, the Von Braun. Yeah, James Henry. Let the other ones be martyrs. Oh, yeah. But can you imagine if you're like one of the people actually working on that? Let's say you're just a guy or the person, right, who's doing the plumbing on the space hotel. Can you imagine how much crazy money you would get just for running pipes or running, wire for that place? You'd be like, all right, this is my hourly rate here. This is my space rate. The Von Braun. F me. Like you couldn't call it the Sagan. You couldn't call it the Goddard, named after the first person to come up with a liquid-fueled rocket. You couldn't name it something that, but you're going with Von Braun. Excellent. Oh, blazing. The salaries are going to be astronomical, indeed. And you got to think about the staffing of that place, too, right? There's going to have to be someone specifically to handle the, I mean, you would guess there'd be someone there just to handle any kind of plumbing. Wasn't Von Braun for the, yeah, he was saying he was famous for the V2 and the V1 missiles and the Meteor. No, what was it? The Me-262. I think the Germans had, yeah, he was famous for a lot of things, but he was, I think it was Operation Paperclip that the CIA snuck him out of Germany or whisked him out of Germany. They're like, he's a good National Socialist. Was he in Treblinka having slaves make him stuff? Yeah, maybe, possibly. Did he bet? You know, I don't even know how many Brits died from the V1 and V2 missiles. I know it's in the thousands. And I'm not saying he didn't contribute to NASA after the war. But to name the first space hotel after von Braun, that's I think that's a branding issue. You know, especially if you're a Jew, if you're someone who's Jewish and you want to go up into space, it's like, well, where are you going? Well, you know, there's only one hotel up there, and it's the von Braun. Awkward, very awkward. It's a good tower, by the way. I haven't complimented myself on what a great tower this is lately, but it is pretty epic. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 2, 3, 3, 34, 34 levels, everyone. 34 levels. Yep, that's right, James Henry. That is correct. Oh, wow. But, you know, it's one thing, right? It is a good question. Rexrode the Goebbels. It's a good question. So see, I was just talking about how good the tower was and how I got up to 34 levels, and now this disaster. All right, so yeah. Yeah, and there's a lot of things you could feel, you know, a lot of companies. Mitsubishi, right? They had quite their fingers in some refused by Israeli products. Well, there you go. I could see that. All right, so I'm going to cut this stream because, you know, I got to exercise. I got to do stuff. I'm going to be productive, but this was fun. This was fun, as always. I'll be here tomorrow at 9 a.m. doing what I do. I think I'm going to take tomorrow off from Jenga. I think I'm going to take tomorrow off. I'm going to go walk and do some stuff outside, some extended stuff outside. So I'm going to take tomorrow off from Jenga. Anti-Zionist. Oh, I hear what you're saying, James Henry. I understand what you're saying. But I'll be here tomorrow at 9 a.m. Saturday, I guess I'm going to read some hate comments and respond. And then on Sunday, late night show, Jack and I are going to be doing some animated. It's going to be an animated show, basically. There's going to be a lot of animations from my buddy Tom McDonald, who does some really bizarre, funny, offbeat comedy. So, yeah, I'll see you all later. Take care. Be strong.